good to go. That's it. But I want to keep everything descriptive so that I don't forget what I was doing after I come back a few months later, maybe 1 year later. So that's why I'm always comfortable enough to use the longer version of the variable names. So that's how I do it. Now there is another aspect in this script. The cheer IO is not part of the global. It's not actually part of the package, or it's not part of the global module that was included when you downloaded Node for your system. You will have to download Cheer IO by yourself, or you'll have to use the npm repository to download that for you and to install that on your global Nodes ecosystem, or your local repository that was included during your installation of Node. Now, how do we get that? Let's get back to our browser. So there is a website called npmjs.com. So let me show you how that actually looks like. Okay, so this is the home page for npm. Now, as I was talking about, npm necessarily means Node Package Manager. So this is more of like the plugin in jQuery's terminology, or this is more of like if you want to extend your node, or if you want to include more extensions, then you will have to come in this npm repository, or in this website that actually houses all the private and public modules that are created by hundreds and thousands of developers, Node developers more specifically, from all around the world. You can find any useful modules from this website. So if I search for something like Cheer IO, it's going to bring me a list of all the familiar type of names, that familiar type of modules with the name Cheer IO. Now I've got 393 results for Cheer IO. So how do I sort all of this, and how do I recognize which one do I need? Because there is something called WebCheck Cheer IO. There is also something called HyperQuest, maybe Cheer IO, then Cheer IO Client or CLI, maybe Cheer IO RPL, Cheer IO EQ, and at the beginning of the list we have got Cheer IO. So how do we recognize this? So we only recognize that by looking at the number of stars it has got, because it is quite popular among the Node application developers. So it's pretty used, and it's usually updated by its developer. But the other ones, you see that they're not very popular, or they're not being used very often, because some of them are actually they were actually released few days ago, or maybe few hours ago. So let's click on this Cheer IO, and it's going to take you to the page for this module. Now this page of the module actually shows you some examples, but if you want it also gives you an entire detailed list of the documentation, or which is what how to use it, when to use it, when not to use it. Like the writer of this module is actually telling you that this is actually a small module, and you can use it instead of the JS DOM. But he's also telling us that when I use JS DOM, Cheer IO will not solve all your problems. I would still use JS DOM, which is also another module. You can head over to the search box and search for it. He's telling us I would still use JS DOM if I needed to work in a browser-like environment on the server, particularly if I wanted to automate functional tests. So yeah, every module has its pros and cons, but it has more pros or more advantages than disadvantages. So we are going to use this simple, lightweight module. But if you want a clear view of the documentation. You should either scroll down, it shows you how to use it or how to initialize the process in your node, and it also tells you what function is included inside this small module and how you can use all of these functions. So it's also available on GitHub. If you're a fan of GitHub, you can head over to github.com/cheerio.js/cheerio. So in here too, you will also get the entire documentation along with the files that's included inside this module. If you want to actually download it by yourself and you want to build it by yourself, but I'm not actually quite interested in it, and I'm going to show you an easier way, a shortcut to using this Cheer.io within just seconds inside your Node application. So the first way to do is, let me show you. Okay, so let me head over to the root directory of my machine. So I'm now currently in the root directory as the symbol tells me. Now what I can do is write npm install Cheer.io. That's it. You can also find this command from this page. It's also there. npm install Cheer.io. If you want to copy it, just copy it and then head over to your terminal. Just paste it in here and hit enter. And just hit it. That's it. It's going to install it for you. It's just going to take a few minutes and you're good to go. You don't have to do all the dirty stuff or by building it yourself, downloading it yourself. No, that's not required. When you use npm install, it's going to already find the nodes directories for you, and it's going to install this new module inside the module directory, and it will be available for use on your application all over the node. So we can happily use this require function to require or call the Cheer.io module for us, and then we can assign it on the Cheer.io variable, which will eventually turn into a Cheer.io object. Now let's talk about this file system module. This fs module, when I require this fs module, it's going to turn this file system variable into an object, and then we can call several functions or methods, which we will use to call this JSON file and retrieve all the value using this file system objects methods. And the methods that will be useful for us are the fsRead file function, which is a synchronous function, and also we will use the options. We will also use an anonymous function for the callback, and we will also see how to use JSON parse to actually retrieve the data from this and parse all the data for our usage on the server.